Ezekiel 44. Then he returned me toward the outer gate of the sanctuary, which faces eastward, and it was closed. Hashem said unto me, This gate shall be closed. It shall not be opened. No man may come through it, because Hashem, God of Israel, entered by it. It shall be closed. It is for the prince. He is a prince. He shall sit within it to eat food before Hashem. Through the hall of the eastern gate he is to come, and depart that way. Then he brought me toward the northern gate, to the front of the temple building. And behold, I saw that the glory of Hashem filled the house of Hashem. I fell upon my face. Hashem said to me, Son of man, set your heart and see with your eyes and hear with your ears all that I am saying to you about all the laws of the temple of Hashem and all its teaching. Set your heart toward the entrance to the temple and to all the exits from the sanctuary. Then say to the house of rebellion, to the house of Israel, Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, You have indulged too much in all your abominations, O house of Israel, by bringing in strangers of uncircumcised heart and uncircumcised flesh to be in my sanctuary, to defile my temple when you offer my food, fat and blood. And they have violated my covenant, in addition to all your abomination. You did not safeguard the charge of my holy places. You set as guardians of my charge in my sanctuary those who were for your own selves. Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, Any estranged person of uncircumcised spirit or uncircumcised flesh shall not enter my sanctuary, any estranged person among the children of Israel. But those Levites who distanced themselves from me during Israel's straying, when they strayed from me after their idols, they shall bear their iniquity. They may be attendants in my sanctuary, responsible for the gates of the temple, serving the temple. They may slaughter the burnt offering and feast offering of the people, and they may stand before them to serve them. But because they ministered to the people before their idols, and they became a stumbling block of iniquity for the house of Israel, therefore I have raised my hand against them, the word of the Lord Hashem Elohim, and they shall bear their iniquity. They shall not approach me to serve me, or to approach my holy places, to the holy of holies. But they shall bear their shame and their abominations that they have committed. Yet I will make them guardians of the charge of the house, for all its service and for everything that is done in it. But the Kohanim, the Levites, descendants of Zadok, who safeguarded the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel strayed from me, let them draw near to me to serve me. Let them stand before me to offer me fat and blood. The word of the Lord Hashem Elohim. They will come to my sanctuary, and they shall approach my table to serve me, and they will safeguard my charge. It shall be that when they come to the gates of the inner courtyard, they shall wear linen clothes. Wool shall not be upon them when they serve inside the gates of the inner courtyard within. Linen turbans shall be upon their heads, and linen breeches shall be on their loins. They shall not gird themselves where one perspires. When they go out to the outer part of the courtyard, to the outer courtyard to the people, they shall remove the clothes in which they had ministered and leave them in the holy chambers. And they shall don other garments, and they shall not mingle with the people while wearing their clothes. They shall not shave their heads, nor shall they allow them to grow wild. They shall keep their heads trimmed. No Cohen shall drink wine when he enters the inner courtyard. Neither a widow nor a divorcee may they take unto themselves for wives, but only virgins from the offspring of the house of Israel. But a widow who is only widowed, some Kohanim may marry. They shall instruct my people concerning the difference between holy and ordinary. And they shall inform them of the difference between contaminated and clean. Concerning a disagreement, they shall stand in judgment, and shall adjudicate them according to my laws. They shall safeguard my teachings and my decrees regarding all my appointed times. And they shall sanctify my Sabbaths. They shall not approach a human corpse to become contaminated, except that each of them may become contaminated to the corpse of his father, mother, son, daughter, brother, or sister who had never been married to a man. And then, after his cleansing, They shall count 7 days for him. On the day of his entry into the sanctuary, into the inner courtyard, to minister in the sanctuary, he shall bring his sin offering, the word of the Lord, Hashem Elohim. The priesthood will be a heritage for them. I am their heritage, for you shall not give them a possession in Israel. I am their possession. They shall eat the meal offering, the sin offering, and the guilt offering, and any consecrated property in Israel will be for them. All the first fruits of every kind, and all terumah of any kind, of all your terumah gifts, shall be for the Kohanim. And you shall give the first portion of your dough to the Kohen, to bring a blessing to rest upon your home. The Kohanim shall not eat any carrion nor meat from a fatally wounded animal, or fowl, or of livestock. Ezekiel 45. When you allot the land as an inheritance, you shall set aside a sacred portion to Hashem from the land. In length 25,000 long, and in width 10,000 long. It shall be holy within its entire boundary all around. From this shall come for the sanctuary enclosure 500 by 500 square all around, and 50 cubits of open space all around it. By this same measure you shall measure a length of 25,000 and a width of 10,000. Within it shall be the sanctuary, Holy of Holies. It is a sacred portion from the land, for the Kohanim, the ministrants of the sanctuary, shall it be, those who approach to minister before Hashem. It shall be for them a place for houses, and as holy ground for the sanctuary. And another strip of 25,000 long and 10,000 wide shall be for the Levites, the ministers of the temple, as their possession, with 20 chambers. As the possession of the city, you shall allot 5,000 wide by a length of 25,000 alongside the sacred portion. For the entire house of Israel shall it be. And as the portion for the prince, on the one and the other sides of the sacred portion, and the possession of the city, facing the sacred portion, and facing the possession of the city, from the western side extending westward, and from the eastern side extending eastward, the length corresponding to each of the tribal portions, from the western border to the eastern border. In the land, it shall be his as a possession in Israel, that my princes shall not again extort from my people. Rather, they shall give the land of the house of Israel according to their tribes. Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, it is too much for you, O princes of Israel. Set aside lawlessness and pillage, and do justice and righteousness. Desist from your evictions of my people, the word of the Lord Hashem Elohim. Honest scales and an honest ephah, and an honest baz shall you have. The ephah and the baz shall be the same volume. The baz shall contain 1/10 part of a shomer, and the ephah is 1/10 of a shomer. Relative to the shomer shall their volume be. The shekel shall be 20 gerah. 20 shekels plus 25 shekels plus 15 shekels shall comprise a maneh for you. This is the portion that you shall set aside, 1/6 of an ephah from a shomer of wheat, and you shall take 1/6 of an ephah from a shomer of barley. The law of the oil, the baz is the measure for the oil. The baz shall be 1/10 of the core, which is 10 baz, a shomer, for 10 baz are a shomer. And 1 lamb from the flock out of 200, from Israel's fattest animals. These are all for a meal offering, a burnt offering, and a peace offering, to atone for you. The word of the Lord, Hashem Elohim. The entire people of the land shall join in this donation with the prince in Israel. Upon the prince shall be the responsibility for the burnt offerings, the meal offering, and the libation, on the festivals, on the new moons, and on the Sabbaths, and on all appointed times of the house of Israel. He shall prepare the sin offering, the meal offering, the burnt offering, and the peace offering, to atone on behalf of the house of Israel. Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, in the first month, on the first of the month, you shall take an unblemished bull of the herd, and you shall cleanse the sanctuary. The Kohen shall take from the blood of the sin offering and put it on the doorposts of the temple, and on the 4 corners of the altar's shelf, and on the doorpost of the gate of the inner courtyard. And so shall you do for a week in the month, to atone for contamination caused by an unwitting or ignorant person. You shall purify the house. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall have the Pesach offering, a festival of 7 days, when unleavened bread shall be eaten. On that day, the prince shall bring a bull sin offering for himself and for the entire people of the land. During the 7 days of the festival, he shall bring a burnt offering for Hashem, 7 bulls and 7 rams, unblemished, each day for the 7 days, and a sin offering, a he-goat for each day. And he shall bring a meal offering, an ephah for each bull and an ephah for each ram, and a hin of oil for each ephah. In the 7th month, on the 15th day of the month, during the Sukkot festival, he shall do the same for the 7 days, like the sin offering, like the burnt offering, like the meal offering, and like the oil. Ezekiel 46. Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, the gate of the inner courtyard that faces eastward shall be closed during the 6 days of labor, but on the Sabbath day it shall be opened, and on the day of the new moon it shall be opened. Then the prince shall enter by way of the hall of the gate from without, and stand before the doorpost of the gate. The Kohanim will prepare his burnt offering and his peace offering, and he will then prostrate himself at the threshold of the gate and depart. But the gate shall not be closed until the evening. The people of the land shall prostrate themselves before Hashem at the entrance of that gate on the Sabbaths and on the new moons. And this is the burnt offering that the prince shall bring for Hashem. On the Sabbath day, 6 unblemished sheep and an unblemished ram, and a meal offering of 1 ephah for the ram, and a meal offering according to what his hand can give for the sheep, with a hin of oil for each ephah. On the day of the new moon, an unblemished bull from the herd, and 6 sheep and a ram. They shall be unblemished. And he shall make an ephah for the bull and an ephah for the ram as a meal offering, and for the sheep according to his means, with a hin of oil per ephah. When the prince enters, he shall enter by way of the hall of the gate, and by the same way he shall leave. But when the populace comes before Hashem on the appointed days, whoever comes in by way of the northern gate to prostrate himself shall go out by way of the southern gate, and whoever comes in by way of the southern gate shall go out by way of the northern gate. He shall not return by way of the gate through which he came in. Rather, he shall go out opposite it. And the prince, he shall enter among them when they enter, and when they leave, he shall leave. On the festivals and at the appointed times, the meal offering shall be an ephah for a bull and an ephah for a ram, and for the sheep, according to what his hand can give, with a hin of oil per ephah. When the prince makes a free will offering, a burnt offering or a peace offering, as a free will offering for Hashem, they shall open for him the gate that faces eastward, and he shall make his burnt offering and his peace offerings as he does on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go out, and they shall close the gate after his departure. You shall prepare a sheep in its first year, unblemished, as a daily burnt offering for Hashem. You shall make it every morning. And you shall bring a meal offering with it every morning, 1/6 of an ephah, 1/3 of a hin of oil with which to mix the flour. It is a meal offering to Hashem, as an eternal portion to be offered continually. They shall make the sheep and the meal offering and the oil every morning as a continual burnt offering. Thus said the Lord Hashem Elohim, if the prince makes a gift to one of his sons, since it is his inheritance and will belong to his sons, it is their possession by inheritance. But if he makes a gift from his inheritance to any of his servants, it shall remain his until the Jubilee year. Then it shall revert to the prince. His inheritance shall be only for his sons. The prince may not take from the inheritance of the people to extort their possession from them. He shall bequeath to his sons from his own possession, so that my people will not be scattered, each man from his possession. Then he brought me through the passage that was at the side of the western gate to the sacred chambers of the Kohanim that faced northward. And behold, there was a place at its western end. He said to me, this is the place where the Kohanim shall cook the guilt offering and the sin offering, and where they shall bake the meal offering, so as not to bring them into the outer courtyard to mingle with the people. Then he brought me out into the outer courtyard and led me past the 4 corners of the courtyard. And behold, an enclosure at one corner of the courtyard, and an enclosure at the other end of the courtyard. At the four corners of the courtyard were open enclosures, 40 cubits in length and 30 cubits in width. There was one measurement for the four of them situated in the corners. There was a row of masonry protruding all around for the four of them, and hearths were made beneath these rows all around. He said to me, "These are the cooking places where the temple ministers shall cook the offering of the people.